lemon meringue lollipops.
Let's see what's cooking. It's time for Yo-Yo Max 12.
Hello everyone, starting off with a medium-sized saucepan, 2 cups of sugar, 1/4 cup of water, and 2/3 of a cup of white or clear corn syrup. And you're going to stir this over a medium-high heat until it starts to boil. Once it starts to boil, you don't have to stir it anymore. You just need to cook it until the temperature reaches 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the hard crack candy stage. Now, the trick with this stuff is to keep an eye on the temperature, because it'll seem to take forever to get to 290, but then boom, you'll be at 300 within seconds. It happens really fast when it gets to a certain point. So when you get up to 290, 95, when you get to 95, take it right off the heat, because it's going to continue to go up very quickly after that, especially if your saucepan has a thick bottom that retains a lot of the heat, and a lot of saucepans are like that. So just keep an eye on it. Make sure you don't go over 300, because it's going to it'll turn a golden brown color, like a caramel color. And you don't want this for this particular recipe. Now, I immediately divided the syrup into 2 different saucepans, equally half and half. And for the lemon part of the lemon meringue pops, I'm adding some tartaric acid. Now, this is a byproduct of winemaking, and it sounds like cream of tartar, tartaric acid, and it's a very tart flavor. They sell it at winemaking supply stores or online. You can also use citric acid, which is also a powder, and that is a natural derivative of citrus. They taste very similar. The tartaric acid is a bit more tart. Either one will be fine in this recipe. And I also added in a few drops of liquid yellow food coloring just to give it a lemon color. Now, to make sure it tastes like lemon meringue, we're going to add lemon flavoring. I added a teaspoon of lemon extract. You could also use about half a teaspoon of the lemon flavoring oil that's used usually just for candy making. That's up to you. Either one works fine. Stir that in, and then your candy's ready to put in the molds. Now, these molds are specially made for hard candy making. They withstand high temperatures. Do not use those chocolate molds that use candy melts, because they'll just melt the mold completely, because this stuff's really hot. And you're going to spoon it into the molds. These molds have been lightly greased, just very lightly greased with cooking spray. And you're going to fill the molds up to halfway, because we're going to need to add a white meringue layer on top of it. And you can use very shallow molds for this. These are very shallow, these little flowers, and I was able to put in just a little of the yellow and the white on top, and they turned out very well. Deeper molds might make it just a little bit easier. And those candy sticks I bought at the bulk barn, but they're also available in stores like Michael's Craft Stores, another place that sell candy making supplies. Now you're going to let that yellow part harden. While you're waiting for it to harden, you can prepare your meringue layer. That's the other half of that candy that we boiled up. I'm adding half a teaspoon of marshmallow flavoring. And this is marshmallow flavoring oil by Loren's Oils. It's for candy making and for other applications as well. And why marshmallow? Well, it has a very, very strong vanilla flavor, and that's kind of what meringue tastes like. The sweetened egg whites kind of taste like very vanilla-like, so that's why we're using that. So stir in that, and to get the white color, we're going to add some white food coloring. And this is Wilton brand white food coloring that's actually designed for frosting, but it works just fine with candy making as well, as I learned. And I added enough, which wasn't very much, just a few drops to get it to a nice white color that would look like meringue on a lemon meringue pie. Now, while you're waiting for the yellow part to harden, this may start to solidify on you, and you may not be able to spoon it, and it may not pour easily. So all you have to do in that case is just put that pot back on the stove, and that's why I put it in a cooking pot. Put it on the stove, heat it until it starts to bubble a little bit and loosen up. And once it gets to the pouring consistency, you just can scoop it out then. Just don't cook it for too long, because you don't want the color to start to change. And then you just top up your molds with the white layer. Now, it's okay if the yellow part is just still warm and might be a little bit soft, but you want to make sure it's set enough so it will support the weight of the white, and the white won't encroach into the yellow. And be careful you don't overflow your molds, because you're going to end up with like a white ring around your lollipops. And then you're going to let them sit there until they are completely hardened and completely cool before you pop them out. And as you can see, they pop out quite easily if the candy is completely cool. If they don't pop out as easy, all you have to do is flex the mold a little bit and it'll pop out. So those are the little flower ones that I made, and I also made some hearts, simple round ones, and I also did these large happy face lollipops. Now, to give them a little extra kind of a interest, what you can do is sprinkle on a little bit of the citric acid or tartaric acid, just a tiny little sprinkling. And what this does, it gives it kind of that Warheads kind of a tartness. So when someone gets one of these, you tell them it's really sour, and yes, it will be. There'll be a super sour start, but then it'll get sweet very quickly, kind of like the Warheads candies do. So it gives it a nice little interest to it, gives it a nice little tartness. These are completely distinctive two flavors here. You have the yellow, which tastes like a lemon, and then you have the white, which tastes like meringue. They're actually pretty awesome. And so here are some of the flower ones. I can see the front and the back. One is yellow and one is white, of course. And I did some heart ones as well, and those turned out pretty good. These are one of my favorite lollipops that I've ever made, actually, in all the years I've been making candy. These are really, really, really good. Another favorite of mine are my maple syrup lollipops. And some people ask me, do you have to use corn syrup when you make candy? You don't. In fact, here are some on your screen right now that just use maple syrup. And I put bacon in the middle of these, but you don't have to. So if you want to look at making some maple syrup candies, click on the link. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.